You must have heard that communicating in code language has been in existence for a very long time, and it is still practiced today, be it in our defense systems to get some intel, to big corporates trying to take out some information of some great deal. Even our fish and fruit vendors use code language for their daily fluctuating prices. Though Morse code is an outdated system of communication today, however, the underlying ability to communicate via Morse code remains an extremely important skill till today. The simple alphabets of dots and dashes can be used to communicate beyond language barriers and convey essential information covertly. Morse codes have saved many lives in the past and still does. In July 1965, US naval aviator Jeremiah Denton was taken prisoner by the Vietnamese after his jet was shot down. Denton and his navigator were held prisoners of war for almost 8 years in a Vietnamese camp where they were brutally tortured and even blood circulation was cut off to their limbs. Delton was forced by the Vietnamese to speak on television just to tell the world that he was being treated very well in the prison. But while speaking on camera, he blinked the Morse code to spell out torture. Torture. This covert communication immediately alerted the US military about the real conditions Denton and his navigator was going through in the prison camp. The US military immediately decoded the message and released him from captivity. The history of Morse code is directly linked to the invention of electrical telegraph invented in 1837 by Samuel Morse. Morse's telegraph used simple on and off electrical pulses sent over a long distance wire to another telegraph machine on the other end. The technology further developed short pulses called dots and longer pulses called dashes, which were combined to form letters. Pauses were also added to indicate spaces between the two words. In that context, about 100 years later, during the Cold War in 1950, the CIA introduced more intelligent ways of covert communication that did not attract public interest at all. You'll be surprised to know that they used different patterns of tying shoelaces to convey secret messages. Now, shoelaces are generally inserted in shoes in three major standard ways across the whole world. So they came up with this bright idea that any deviation besides these three ways will become useful for signaling. So they introduced various tying methods of shoelaces. So what did these codes mean? There was no standardized pattern as such, but these patterns served as a visual cue for identification and send messages covertly which has been previously agreed upon by two operatives. Some patterns were: I have information for you, I will follow your instruction, I have brought another person with me. More detailed communication techniques are mentioned in the Cold War Spy Pocket Manual, where the other ways of covert communication methods are spoken about, like the color of the shirt or the size of the shirt buttons, or even how a pen is kept inside a pocket decoded some message or the other. Now, if you found this piece interesting, please subscribe for more.